Many thanks for staying tuned us on Frontline this morning. Now let's go on with the interview segments of the program in anticipation for this year Democracy Day. It's going to be 26 years of uninterrupted democratic system of government, and it's very, very significant in the history of Nigeria, and it's also important for us to take a moment to pause and reflect and ask ourselves questions about the state of the nation. It's 26 years since Nigeria returned to democratic rule in 1990, and it's over 2 decades of elections, transitions, and also reforms, and of course double is quite number of challenges, and it's also coincide with the 2 years anniversary of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu's administration. So we want to look at the 26 years of democracy, the journey so far. Let's look at how it started, where we are today, and what the future holds for Nigerians as we celebrate 26 years of democracy. And joining us this morning to have this conversation is Mr. Abiodun Bamigboye. He is the Secretary of Joint Action Front, JAF. It's good to have you on the program this morning.
Same pleasure.
Thank you so much for coming. So looking back at 26 years since Nigeria returned to democratic rule in 1990, now what would you say about Nigeria's democracy? Would you say Nigeria democracy has matured going by what has happened in the past, where we are today?
Well, I think the first point to make is to correct an impression that what we have in Nigeria is democracy. It's far from it. Though what we struggled for, or what's necessitated June 12th struggle was a desire for a democracy. But it's quite unfortunate that that struggle ended up without democracy. What we have in Nigeria today, like I earlier tried to say, is not democracy. It's far from it. What we have is what can be called a civil rule. A civil rule it means that unlike under military junta, when those who were ruling us were in military uniform, what we have now is that those who preside over the affair of the country now are no longer wearing uniform. What they are now putting out is civilian attire. But when you look at the conduct of the way and manner they preside over the country, is not far different from what we witnessed during military junta. Take for instance, last year, Nigeria went on a street protest to demand a reversal of the hike in the price of petrol, forced on Nigerian working people by Tinubu administration under the pretense of subsidy. But during that protest, even before that protest took off in a place like Abuja, organizers were abducted in the dead of the night in their various abodes, not on the streets. And they were incarcerated for over 3 months. And when they were eventually forced, the government to arraign them in courts, they were charged for treason, for having an intention to protest, not that even they have protested. And where those protests took place, protesters were arrested, were tear gassed, were incarcerated. Can we call that democracy? A democracy? It is not. And that is why some of us have decided that on June 12th, given the fact that we knew that the struggle for June 12 was a struggle for democracy. That we will still come out again on June 12 to say that what we have is yet to be a democracy. Therefore, the struggle for June 12 is yet to be over. And that is why on that June 12, symbolically, we have decided in joint action fronts, alongside us, that civil society organization, in a joint protest, first to tell this government that what you are doing, stop deceiving Nigerians. We are not running democracy. Democracy is meant to be the rule of majority. Can we say that of Nigeria today? Go and look at the last election. The total number of Nigerians who participated in that election is less than 30%. The total votes, recorded by the winner of that election, who is now the president of this country, is less than 10 million in a population of over 200 million people. Can you say that that is a rule of the majority? It is not. And when you look at everything this government is doing, it has demonstrated that it is a government that is there, established, designed to satisfy the interests of the minority against the interests of the majority. Take for instance, the price of the petrol was increased by this regime on 29 of May 2023, even before the president assumed office. It increased the price of petrol more than 400%. Something that has thrown Nigerians, as we have it today, into a perpetual state of mystery, squalor, and agony. And despite all the cry of Nigeria, this government continued to insist that that is the best it could do for this country. Between that time and now, over 70 million Nigerians have gone into poverty. Life has become more miserable for mass of Nigerian working people. That is not enough. Between that period, last year, 2 years ago up to now, the number of the wealth of billionaires in Nigeria has increased in multiple folds. Take for instance, before the price of petrol was increased, the man that used to be the richest man in Africa has already been overtaken by a South African billionaire. But in less than a month after the increase in the price of petrol, the man regained his position and he became the richest man in Africa again. And when you look at the wealth of billionaires since the increase in price of petrol, it has increased in multiple fold, like I said the other time. So that is, all these points showed that the government we have today is a government of the minority that is designed to defend and satisfy the interests of the minority against the interests of the majority. And that is why we have come to a conclusion that what we have today can never be called a democracy, because democracy is meant to be the rule of the majority, not the rule of the minority. So the best that can be given, the best appellation or nomenclature that can be given to what we have in Nigeria today is nothing but either civil rule or a capitalist democracy.
Okay, now let's go back to the common definition of democracy, like a layman definition, which is a government of the people, by the people, and for the people. Are you saying that the people in this definition is now relative? Because looking at everything you have said, that it seems that this government is just the government of some few or selected persons and not in the majority, not the people in the context of the definition of what democracy is.
Yes, that's why I call it a capitalist democracy. Why we call it the capitalist democracy is because it is a democracy that is defending the interest of the capitalists, the billionaires, like I've earlier highlighted. So we can't call it a democracy of the majority. And that's why we are saying that it's only a socialist democracy, a democracy that encourages the participation of workers and the poor in the realm of government, that can satisfy the needs of Nigerian working people. And that's the kind of democracy we are fighting for in Joint Action Front.
Okay. So would you now say that there is no part of a democratic institution that has improved the most in the last 26 years?
I look at it, I found it difficult to find any. You take, for instance, you go to police. As our police, changed their practice compared to what it used to be under the military junta. I've measured few of it, how protesters, peaceful protesters, are being tear gassed, arrested, killed while exercising their democratic right. Is it the courts that we want to talk about? How the protesters are being arraigned and charged for felony in court, and the courts find it so comfortable to accommodate that kind of charge? Is it in the same country that billionaires will steal billions of nairas, and the same courts will accept a plea bargaining, go and pay part of the money you have stolen, and go and continue to enjoy the rest? Is that what can be called a democratic democratic institution that has improved differently from what we used to have under the military junta? I would say no. Is it the media you want to talk about? If I say anything now, that threatening the existence of this government, your stations is going to be given query, if not banned, by the government institutions that ensures that people's voice is gauged in the society. Can such institutions be said to be different in terms of party from what we used to have under the military junta? I would say no. So when you look at all of this together, or is it the government itself, from federal, state, and the local government, nothing has changed significantly. This does not say that there has not been some element of improvement, but this element of improvement are highly negligible, insignificant, something that's far from what one can celebrate as a sign of a democratic rule.
Yeah, we cannot take out the role of our electoral system when we are talking about the democratic system of the government. So let's assess our electoral system and its role in the democratic system of government. How would you assess the role of INEC and the judiciary in sustaining the democracy in the last decades?
I've mentioned that of the judiciary partly, but INEC has even been worse, in the sense that while some of us who participated even in the struggle for actualization of June 12 did not even participate in the election, was because the June 12 election was far from what can be called democratic, free and fair, as some people often try to present it in the public, even up to today. Why? Because the two parties that participated in that election were formed by Babangida, the NRC and SDP in his bedroom. That was after the Babangida himself have truncated a democratic process through which Nigeria wanted to form political party by themselves. Because in 1989, there was an attempt, it was Babangida himself that claimed he has removed the embargo, that Nigeria should go and form political party by themselves in preparation for transition program. And Nigeria started the process. I remember members of civil society organization at that time begin mobilization from different parts of the country with an attempt to form a Labour party. But at the verge of forming that party, that was when Babangida truncated the whole process, and in his bedroom imposed two political parties,
on Nigerian people. As the situation be different today from our own INEC? No. In 2013, as we speak today, not before I even go to 2013, as we speak today, over 91 political organizations are having their registration application on the table of INEC. That please register us as a political party. We did not see any political party that you can associate with among the one that exists, among the 18 that is in existence. Register us as a political party. But as we speak, INEC has not registered them. So when you begin to have an election, characterized with apathy, it's all connected with the fact that people did not see any choice in none of the existing political party and the candidate that represents them. And they are interested in forming their own political party so that they can also project their own political aspirations and value. But INEC has continued to be a stopping block, before such kind of aspiration. Under what pretense? That the number of political party is too many, is too this, and that is a flimsy excuse. In US today, you have more than over 200 political parties. But I can tell you why there's always a pressure on the national election and the INEC itself is because of undemocratic nature of our electoral system. If our electoral system today is made to be democratic, such that people can, voluntarily participate in local government election, with an assurance that at least they are going to have their, interest reflected without any fear of election being rigged or being manipulated in the favor of the candidate of the governor, as we have it across the country today. You can be rest assured that many of the political parties will not be interested in participating in national election. In US today, many political parties don't even participate in national election. Many participate even in just a ward election. And that is the kind of things that we strongly feel will have been happening, such that number of political parties wouldn't have been a problem if our electoral system is democratized. And that is what one thinks that INEC should have done. But instead of INEC to do that, they have been taking advantage of that. They have been exploiting that, that terrible situation to prevent Nigerian people to register political party. I'm rounding up with my experience practically in 2012. As a member of Socialist Party of Nigeria, we applied for the registration of SPN with INEC. That was in 2012.
Okay.
Having paid 1 million naira, which they called administrative fee that we had to pay, and we satisfy all of the other conditions that we must have offices in Abuja and some other states across the country. We satisfy all of that, that we must have memberships spread across the country. We satisfy all of that, and we apply for registration. Meanwhile, before that time, the administrative charge used to be 100,000, but because they knew that socialists wanted to register political party, they increased it to 1 million, thinking that we won't be able to get 1 million. 1 million in 2012 was a big money, though. It took us 6 months because we were not party or billionaire to raise that money. But having raised the money, we applied for registration. It will shock you to know that INEC did not register us until 2018. Just calculate it, over 5 years.
That's almost 6 years.
That was after struggle, protest, agitation. That was after all of that, that the courts in 2018 now mandated INEC to register us. But what happened a year after the registration? They pronounced our deregistration. As we have it today, we are still struggling for the registration of Socialist Party of Nigeria. And do you know why? Because they are fearful that with the state of things now today, if you have a political party that is frontally and openly campaigning for socialism, that it could serve as a rally point for mass of Nigerian working people, something that can decimate their influence and begins to, serve as a means to a better Nigeria. And that is why consciously they have continued to put that obstacle. So when you look at INEC today, in all ramification, it's not different from what we used to have during the life of FEDECO, which was the electoral body during the military junta. So, and all of this showed, like I've said, earlier and repeatedly, that what we have today is still far from what we can call democracy. So, the struggle of June 12, which is the struggle for democracy, remain relevant today. And that is why on June 12th, we of Joint Action Front, with other civil society organizations, will still be on the street to continue to say that the struggle for democracy, June 12th, is yet to be over.
Well, I'm sure that it's the desire of many Nigerians today to remedy what has been done wrong in the past 26 years now, that we've been practicing the democratic system of government. So what do you think are the way out? How can we remedy this situation? Because sometimes for me, it seems that people are now being withdrawn from the political terrain and leadership of Nigeria. And here we want change, we want things to get better, but we feel withdrawn from all of this terrain. So how do we remedy what has been done wrong?
Well, to Nigerian working people, the way out is not to withdraw, because it's not enough for us to be an onlooker. Because when you decide to be onlookers, there's an adage in Yoruba that when you leave the dead body of the mother of a mad person for the mad person himself, the implication is that because as a mad person, he doesn't know how to conduct funeral, he doesn't know how to prepare funeral, even how to ensure that the mother is buried, he will just leave the body there in the room, and the body will be stinking, and the odor of the dead body will not allow all the neighbor to rest. So reasonable neighbor will not leave the remaining or the remains of the mother of the dead of a madman to the madman alone. They will rally around the madman and ensure that they help the madman to bury the mother. And that's the situation we find ourselves in Nigeria today. The ruling class, those who are presiding over the Nigerian working people, they did not know how to conduct the affair of this country any longer to satisfy our interests. So we must not be onlookers. It is our responsibility to continue to organize. And one of the aim of our organization should be to continue to tell this government that we oppose all of your policies that is making our life miserable on a daily basis. That is one. But beyond that, is that we must continue to organize ourselves to ensure that we have a political platform of our own through which we can participate in election, contest election, form government, and begin to run the society in our own interest, such that we now have a society where education will be free, a society where health care services will be free for all, a society that will prioritize creation of job, gainful employment opportunity for youth, a society whereby road construction will not be seen as an avenue of stealing public treasury. Recently, our president just have intention of constructing a coastline road of 700 meters, and is commissioning 30 meters out of 700. I've never seen such kind of madness in my life. So all of this shows that all of this government we have across board, they are not designed to satisfy our interests. So we must not withdraw. We must continue to be on their neck. Continue to organize against their policies. And above all, recognize the fact that only that a capitalist government as we have it across the country today, are incapable of meeting the needs of the Nigerian poor people, because capitalist governments are designed to satisfy the interests of the capitalists and the billionaire. So it is only when we have a socialist government, run by the workers and the poor, that our interest, can be organized. So I charge Nigerian working people not to withdraw. Instead, we must begin to organize ourselves in a struggle for a socialist, government in Nigeria, because that's the only system and the government that can end all of the problems we are facing in Nigeria today. Talk of poverty, insecurity, unemployment, and lack to basic, social services like education and healthcare service.
Yeah, the political space in Nigeria has started bustling with the 2027 election, the general election coming up 2027. So moving forward, and as you look ahead to 2027, what will be your viewpoint of Nigeria's democracy?
Well, my viewpoints, if things continue this way, because 2027, in the absence of a political party that will allow workers and the poor to participate, 2027 is going to be a festival of the looters, whether we like it or not. And you have seen them, they have been moving from one party to another, try to position themselves where their self-serving interest will be actualized. And that's why you see politicians in Labour Party today struggling to go to the APC, because the APC, they know, is the government at the federal level and is the one controlling INEC. So if we are where the APC is, we are likely to win election and continue to be where we continue to be part of the sharing of the national cake. And that is what that is going to be. And if we allow this to continue, is a danger even for the civil rule, because the implication of it is that it will get to a point that the center will no longer hold, because if a section of the ruling class, of the tiffin elite, continue to be ostracized, continue to be pushed away, from where they themselves will be at the center of sharing the national cake, they may also organize a kind of an insurrection against the civil rule itself. So the danger of a civil war cannot also be ruled out if things continue this way. But if civil war happens today, the poor people, the workers, will be major victims. So in order to avert that, we have the responsibility to continue to prevail, to organize actions, protest, agitation, to prevail on these elements that are currently presiding over the affair of Nigeria. That don't conduct yourself in such a way that will throw Nigerian people into chaos and throw Nigerian people, society, into the state of civil war. And we have that responsibility to continue to do that.
Thank you so much, Mr. Abiodun Bamigboye, the Secretary of Joint Action Front, as we look at the 26 years of democracy, the journey so far. Well, all we could wish Nigeria is a better tomorrow and a better time where everybody will be so proud to be called Nigerians. And until then, we can only hope that as individuals, as citizens, we also do our part and not withdrawn from the political terrain of the country. Let also be involved, and through various means you can, to ensure that dividends of democracy cut across everyone. And that is our hope and that's our prayer. And we look forward to seeing this happening maybe tomorrow or in the nearest future. Once again, I want to say a very big thank you to my guest, Mr. Abiodun Bamigboye, for your time on the show this morning. Thank you so much, my viewers, for joining us on Frontline this morning. And I want to say Happy Democracy Day in advance. God bless you. My name is Temitope Oladipo. Do enjoy the rest of your day.